my birth name. So I am from Flagstaff, originally Wisconsin, but I lived in Flagstaff from 1975 to 1991 and moved up to Olympia, Washington in 1991. My last visit here was 24 years ago, and oh my gosh, has Flagstaff changed. I cannot believe it. It's just mind-blowing to me. I've been honored to be asked by Desdra's daughters to facilitate this long-awaited gathering today, and I know that you've all waited, and thank you for your patience as the daughters and I thought about this event. Desdra Dawning, our beloved Desdra Dawning, left us unexpectedly on a Monday morning, February 27th of this year. We were all very surprised by it, and we are carrying on in her name. On behalf of Desdra's daughters, I would like to introduce the family members that are here today, and there's a lot of extended family here today as well. And then there's the Flagstaff people, friends, family, and there's a few Olympia people here. So let us begin with introducing daughter Debbie and her son, Michael, and Deb's loving partner, Tom. Raise your hand or stand as I call your name, please. Oh, there's Michael over there. Debbie, where are you? There's Debbie, and Tom is right here. And then introducing Jill, Desdra's second daughter, Jill, and her sons, Brett, and his wife, Haley. Yay. And Desdra's great-grandson, Merrick, her one and only great-grandson, little Merrick over there, at the table on the outskirts there. I'm so glad you guys could make it today. Thank you. Then there is grandson Austin and his wife Brianna, who had a beautiful wedding in March of this year that Desdra talked about and was looking forward to. I know that she was there with you, you guys. I know she was. She spoke of your upcoming wedding often to her friends in Olympia. Congratulations to you two. Desdra's daughter Autumn and her husband Brenton and their two kids, grandson Mason and her only granddaughter Malika. Malika, there you are. Okay. And good job as greeters today, you guys. Thank you for doing the name tags and all of that. Your grandma Desdra is very proud of you today. Desdra's beloved nephew Matt and his wife Marlene. Where are you? Oh, out there. Okay. And their son Joe and Garrett and daughters Sarah and Ashland. They are here from Kansas. And Matt did our music and helped set up the sound and everything today. It took a village to do this. There's also other extended family here, and if you want to, you can introduce yourselves during our sharing time, but just wave your hands. Desdra's extended family, Jim's family, Desdra's extended family. Raise your hands and wave. All right, lots of people here. Okay, very good. I would like to acknowledge Desdra's large circle of Arizona friends who are here today, who've all known Desdra as a sister friend since the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond. Her connections have always been limitless. So, Flagstaff family of friends, please wave your hands. Yeah, there they are, family of friends. All right, and I would like to acknowledge Desdra's Olympia community, where she spent the last 12 fruitful and fulfilling years of her life. Her daughter Deb and I were a part of a close-knit circle who hosted her Olympia celebration we had on June 4th. Desdra became very close to so many in Olympia in her years there. We had 50 people attend on a hot Sunday afternoon, just like this, only it was indoors with no AC, but it was wonderful. And I would especially like to acknowledge Chris Voth and her husband Mark in Olympia, who could not be here today with us, who welcomed Desdra into their home as a cherished family member for the past 12 years. They cannot be here today with us, but they did help organize the Olympia event. They loved Desdra. They loved living with her. They loved her deeply, and she loved them back equally. And we are going to hear their words in a little while. They wrote something. So today we're going to have 5 prearranged speakers, followed by a blessing of Desdra's ashes. And then we will welcome you all to share what you've been holding in your hearts since her sudden passing in February. At that time, please step up to the microphone. Share your thoughts. If you're not comfortable using the microphone, just shout out. Share your thoughts, your memories, a story or two, and how Desdra touched your lives, as she sure had her many ways of doing. So I'm going to introduce her nephew, Matt. He's going to come up and start the speaking with a blessing for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Please stand if you're able to do so in an attitude of reverence. Grand Creator of all, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the many blessings that you have given us and for giving us Desdra in our life's journey. Family and friends, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and soft rains fall softly on your path. May the love and peace of the grand architect of the universe hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. What a surprise. One of the things that I think I want to start this off with is that, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, we have all got to stop getting together for weddings and funerals. This is the time to reconnect and make some of those friendships fresh again, and for you all to be able to continue down the journey together. My friends and family, we are gathered here today to celebrate the life of a wonderful woman, my aunt, spiritual guru, and friend, my Auntie Des. Desdra lived her life with passion, love, and a free spirit that touched the lives of everyone she met. My Auntie Des was a true believer in peace, love, and harmony. Harmony was something that she sought out throughout her life, and even used that sentiment in my cousin Autumn's middle name. She embraced free thought, giving grace, communication, the nonconformity movement to rigid social and political views. She lived her life according to her closely held principles, and she did not let go. She was always kind, always caring, and always willing to lend a helping hand to those in need. She had a love for nature and the outdoors, and she spent many happy days exploring the beauty of the world around her. Desdra was a traveler. Moss did not grow under her feet. Not at all. In some ways, she was very much a gypsy. Always curious about what was over there, or over there, or there. We loved her journey and the way that she traveled. She was an artist, a photographer, and a poet, and she used her talents to spread joy and happiness wherever she went. I will miss her custom-made birthday cards. I will miss her green thumb, how she decorated, and the beautiful plants that she nurtured. I will miss our talks. Desdra was a nurturer. It was in her DNA. She was always supportive and encouraged her friends and family's hopes and dreams. She saw the best in everyone. She was also able to bring out the best in everyone. My auntie was a shining light in this world, and her passing has left a void in our hearts. But we can take comfort in knowing that her spirit lives on. It is my hope that she is reincarnated in the form of a fuzzy, furry, or feathered animal. Preferably an owl, a kitty, puppy, otter, or even a soaring bird. She will definitely live on in the memories we share and the love she's left behind. As we say goodbye to my Auntie Des today, let us remember her for the amazing person she was. Let us honor her memory by living our lives with the same passion, love, and free spirit that she embodied. I would like to leave you with this quote from the Maharishi. The whole purpose of life is to gain enlightenment. Nothing else is significant compared to that completely natural, exalted state of consciousness. So always strive for that. Set your life around that goal. My enlightened Auntie Des. Sweetie, she called us that a lot. Sweetie, you will be missed, but never forgotten. And we love you. Autumn?
Thank you, Matt. That was beautiful. Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful, and I know that Desdra is dancing above us, that we're all here together. She really is a spirit of light in an alternate universe now, just dancing, that we all are connecting. She would not want it any other way. I had wanted to, she had a lot of spiritual traditions and that she did, but this one's not going to work too much because I was going to say if anyone felt like a grounding or earthing, it was one of her fun last insights of wisdom for me that she had really gotten into. But if you feel like taking off your shoes and you're in and out on the dirt, it won't happen on the cement. But earthing is becoming one with Mother Earth. It helps with the mental well-being and restores the connection between the body and the electrical currents of the earth. So if you don't do, the timing isn't right, it's you can do that on your own time if you're thinking of Desdra and you're in the right spot. She always loved to dig her toes in the sand at the ocean. So next time I go to the ocean, I'm definitely digging my toes in the sand for her. I loved that my mom was my little mom. I am so blessed to have had the upbringing from Desdra Ocean Dawning. She and my dad got together and had me on their journey before I was born. Debbie and Jill were 10 and 11 years older than me, and she always said they paved the path for me. I've heard it 100 times from her. She had many journeys during the time when I was born. She was on her hippie journey, which is when most of you connected with her. And that part of her life, I am so blessed that that I chose her to bring me into this world. She had me in a little house on Hospital Hill. I think Rick might live there now. It's 42 years ago, I think. And there was a crescent moon. I was born in the afternoon, but there was a teeny crescent moon in the sky. A midwife and several friends. And that day was, in her life, was wonderful for me, especially because I get to be on this life's journey that she helped have me grow into this woman that I am today with all of her love and compassion. She loved to get back to the Mother Earth, and she always said, I like to walk my talk. Anything that she was passionate about at the moment, she relayed to me and all of her friends. I know that you probably know me more even than you know, than I know you, because she loved to talk about her family, and she's definitely still present with me and all of us. I know that her physical body is no longer with us, but if anything, she went to the other realm of the universe without much pain, and that is joyous to my heart that she didn't suffer. I wanted to mention a few different stories just growing up. We lived a lot in communal houses, which gave a great opportunity to meet and live with some of you along the years. We lived in 5 different houses on Aspen Street. I'm going to take the kids, hopefully later, and point out every house that some of them were pretty much next door to each other. Aspen's only like a mile long, and we lived in 5 houses. And amazing connections of roommates, but she always made sure I had my own room. And then into my teen years, it's like having a cell phone now. I didn't mind moving as long as I had my own phone line. And then I was a happy camper. One of my favorite houses was up on Mars Hill. She definitely had connections of friends. We had musicians and rebirthings. At the time, watching a room of men and women breathing back into their souls of their childbirth. And it works up all of these deep down emotions, and then they're released. And seeing it now, I'm like, this is incredible. Later in life, she rebirthed me one time, and I felt free. There was a massage and network chiropractic, a design of chiropractic, so the same, just releasing and getting back to your own self and the people that we want to be. Just incredible spirituality she had, and she passed along so much love. I was never judged. I was always free to be exactly who I wanted to be. It's just, Desdra's an amazing, amazing mother. We'll keep it short. I feel like I'm rambling. Okay.
Mine's longer.
Okay, good. There's so many times I can talk about. She took us girls down to Mexico as teenagers, and when we were 15, and 6 of us girls in Rocky Point, and Debbie came with us. Who does that? I think she let us go on our own one year, and then when she heard stories, she was like, I'd like to join you next year. And all of us girls, it was like we were going to go either way. And she just wanted to be there to be supportive of teens being teens. And hopefully she instilled that for me in my parenting, to be accepting and supportive of the decisions when you're that age. It wasn't always easy, having sweat lodges and chants out at the goat farm. We lived in a yurt and it showered from a plastic shower hanging in the woods and being naked and taking a shower, you start to, I appreciate all of these things, and at the time I might have been like, this is crazy, and how not crazy it is, how uplifting and wonderful my childhood was. The sweat lodges, yeah, just lots of nakedness all the time, everywhere. And I still sleep naked, and I definitely got that for her. When I go on vacation and we're in a hotel room together, I wear something then, but when I have the chance, I'm naked as much as possible. Oh gosh. Well, my mom Desdra put me through a lot of what I thought were embarrassing moments of walking around with other naked people too, I remember her teaching me how to drive. I got this. We didn't always have a lot of money, and she got this old primer Volvo, and it was a station wagon. And I remember we just talked about this. She was like, "Do you remember how much you did not want me to buy that car?" And I just thought it was the ugliest thing ever. And I stood in front of the car saying, "Don't!" and "Don't buy this car." I was going to be so embarrassed. And she said, "It's already bought. This is our car." And later, I was driving, and she was teaching me how to drive on it, and we were going around a friend's drive out in the woods, and it had a circular, and I panicked, and I ran straight into a tree, going like maybe 5-10 miles an hour. And she was like, "Oh, it's no big deal. We just got out," and she's like, "There's other dents on it. It's not a big deal." So I was like, okay, I actually do like this car. Gosh, I don't ever remember her being upset with me about anything. She loved me unconditionally. And the last couple years, our connection grew even stronger. She supported me through a struggle I was going through. I was stuck in a kind of a large rut, and she guided and helped me and learned, what I was going through and found how to help me through it. I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I am so grateful for Desdra. Every moment of every day, she is with me, guiding me on this amazing journey through life. I can feel her in my heart, holding me, loving me for exactly who I am, like she always did. Desdra instilled this incredible free-spirited way of living life in me, helping me become who I am, open-minded, passionate, and loving. Her spirit angel is dancing with joy that all of us are gathering here today to celebrate the amazing spiritual life she lived. I love you, Mom. Kathy's sharing next.
I'm going to pass around a photo that Desdra took and gave to me as a gift for my birthday, as an example of her many gifts that she had as a photographer. I'll explain more about it in a minute. Compassion and love, as I learned from Desdra's Earth School. Thank you so much, Autumn, for sharing about nakedness and the 5 homes she lived on with you on Aspen. There's so many gifts that she keeps giving to us after she's gone. The piney San Francisco mountains are at our feet. We honor Desdra as we celebrate and meet. There in the air, the ponderosa pine bark smells butterscotch sweet. The mountain pines teach us to breathe universal peace, peace, peace. Over on the altar is a banner that says peace on it that Desdra gave me one year. Listen to the wind, Desdra would say to me. It whispers as the ponderosa branches sway with their needles and pine cones. The mirror of the piney mountain forest reflects green. Every green bursting spring, each blossoming summer, each golden aspen fall, each snowy winter here. The ponderosa pines teach us that we are interconnected, to hold sacred space with one another. Thank you, Desdra, for teaching me this. Branches at Buffalo Park bend toward one another, not just the pines, but also the wise oaks. Each friend, like Desdra, in our life holds out their hand to us, to beckon us to nakedness, to one another, to connectedness, to oneness. As dear friend Desdra often wrote, we're all just trying to walk each other home. A very memorable Ram Dass quote. Speaking of home, I was blessed to live with Desdra. Thank you, Desdra. She just blew in. I love it. I was blessed to live with her in my Flagstaff home in 2008. It was a joy to have her for so many reasons, as she was very thoughtful, fun, conscientious, and caring. She was a fantastic cook. How many of you have eaten some of Desdra's food? Raise your hand. Do you agree? Yes. My sweetheart Michael is also an excellent chef. It was so hard, so difficult, living with two talented cooks in the kitchen. Imagine my dilemma. I gained pounds and pounds. Desdra taught me a lot about preparing delicious vegetable salads with a great range of diverse ingredients. One of the highlights of our time living together was celebrating the night the first Black president, Barack Obama, was elected president. Woo! Woo-hoo! What a memorable night to share together. But shortly after the November election, light snow came to Flagstaff, and Desdra spread her wings to a warmer climate. She did not like cold. There is a sacredness to our relationships with one another. As we learn harmony between all people, one human family, as Desdra would say, for all people, all nations, we're stronger together. Desdra taught me this. She was a peacemaker. She taught me how to actively engage into the world, to transform it. She taught me how to embrace my work and passions as a way to give back to the world. As we became friends in Flagstaff in 1984, she shared with me that she had applied for the exact same media services library position at NAU that I had applied for. In January '84, I was offered that job, and I moved from Minneapolis to Flagstaff to start later that month. Once I met Desdra later that year at a woman's full moon circle, we connected as friends, soul sisters. We became very close. She confided in me that she had actually applied for that same job. She told me, I am so glad that you got the media services job and not me. She held no grudge toward me for landing the position, which I found so kind. Little did we know that I would end up loving library work so much that I stayed at Klein for 30 years. Thank you, Desdra. Desdra taught me to ask myself frequently, What do you love as your passion? Finding our passion saves us. Desdra thrived on creativity. She and I loved poetry. The last time I saw Desdra was February 18th this year in Prescott with friends Linda and Pip. That day, Desdra whipped out her journal and shared with us her poetry that she'd been writing in her beautiful handwriting, stirring the creative muse in each of us. She nurtured us also with our bodies, cooking delicious cheese broccoli soup. Desdra was a creative writer. She wrote heartfelt poems to me in the birthday card she would send to me each year. I treasure each one. She successfully attained her master's degree in creative writing at NAU. Yay, Desdra. I am so proud of you. During that time, she traveled to Japan and mentored students learning English as a second language. Desdra also taught me that the truth of everything in life, everything is spiritual. To seek the truth and ask questions. All of life is a mirror to reflect the divine. Desdra taught me to be okay with listening to my soul when it spoke, just like when the body speaks. When there's a dark night of the soul, you listen. Something doesn't feel right, listen. See what it has to say. It might lead you to something new. All of us can realize the spiritual potential of ourselves and ourselves as a society on the planet Earth. Desdra taught me the sweetness of interdependentness and true friendship. For me, Desdra earned her angel wings with me on April 9th, 1990. I remember the exact day. When I began my labor pains with my second child, I called Desdra. Help me! I'm in labor. Help me, sister. She came to the hospital and breathed with me for so many hours, holding my hands. Wave upon wave of contraction. Ryan Rose was born, healthy baby, the next day, sprinkling all over with his sprinkler system. The cycle of celebration also was a loving theme in our friendship. She moved to Olympia, you lucky Olympians, and each time she came to Arizona, we would gather with dear friends, Pip and Linda, to be together, sharing hikes, meals, and laughter. Desdra thrived also on beauty, as you can see on the photograph I'm sharing with you. She loved photography. It is one of my favorite photos that Desdra took in that frame. I love the blue glass shapes emerging from a boat in the middle of a desert. It was from 2013 when Desdra, friends, and I traveled to the spectacular Chihuly glass exhibit at the Phoenix Botanical Garden when Ellen surprised us with a visit. Thank you so much to all of Desdra's family for bringing us together to celebrate what Desdra means to each of us. And thank you also to each of you in Desdra's community for being here today. Desdra was in the Earth School, also of healing, with me. In November 2001, we went to the same class to become Reiki Masters here in Flagstaff. She had received her training on level 1 and 2, as had I. Interesting enough, the master Reiki symbol we learned that day was a translation that means great, shining, everlasting light. So Desdra taught me that. Limitless love, limitless peace, limitless light, limitless laughter, creativity, beauty, unity, to unify my heart with others. Desdra, you're the air that I breathe, the beat in my heart, the smile and the warmth of this July heat. The piney San Francisco mountains are at our feet. We honor you, Desdra, as we celebrate and meet. There in the air, the ponderosa pine bark smells butterscotch sweet. I remember the elfish twinkle in your eyes, Desdra, whenever we would meet. Thank you, Desdra, for your Earth School and for walking me home from your Earth School. I look forward to seeing you in a new school when we meet again. Sarah.
Marty, this is a perfect time for a musical interlude, a song from Marty Scheidler on the bagpipes called Going Home. Desdra lived in Olympia the last 12 years, but we're both home, she and I, because this was our home. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Marty. Okay, I'm going to read because I have to do that. Laura, bring me a tissue just in case. It's been many months now since Desdra passed, February 27th. And over these months of her passing, and as the times neared for the 2 celebrations for her, I was at first immobilized with the thought of, how do I put 45 years of my life, of my sisterhood with Desdra, into a condensed form for this occasion? So I decided to tell our story. Some of you here today may remember how inseparable Desdra and I were from 1978 to 1991 and beyond. It's been a long 40-some years. I moved to Flagstaff in 75 at the age of 20. By 78, I had married, had my daughter Laura over here. My childbirth experience with a male doctor who was in the wrong line of work turned me into a budding feminist. And into my life walked this beautiful older woman. She was 33 with a baby girl, Autumn, who was 1, on her hip. We were in the 2-room feminist bookstore above Alpine Pizza in downtown Flagstaff, the bookstore that I started, Aradia, with Marty Scheidler and with Anna Flores, who couldn't be here today. Marty carried on the bookstore, and it was open for 30 years in downtown Flagstaff. Thank you, Marty, for bringing a women's bookstore into Flagstaff in the 70s. Thank you, in the 80s. Alrighty. So, my 2-year-old Laura was playing on the floor. Desdra introduced herself. And I thought, what a unique name. Desdra? I never heard that name before. And then she told me her last name, Dawning. And I was like, wow, Desdra Dawning. And I learned that she had 2 older daughters as well, Debbie and Jill. We were instantly drawn to each other. We just knew, without knowing, that we were meant to be together, friends for life. She was an original hippie mama, and I had grown up in that era, but I just missed being fully in it by a few years. But I was one anyway. I became one. Those 60s and 70s created a set of shared values that we immediately picked up on in each other. We were both single at that time. We were both passionate about our personal and spiritual growth. We had a zeal for figuring things out and figuring ourselves out. We read books aloud to each other. We wrote in our journals together. We discovered the Mother Peace Tarot deck, and when the book came out, we spent years doing our readings with each other, anytime we were troubled, questioning, what's the next best step to take in our lives? Am I on the right path? We worked consciously together to heal our childhood wounds. We became midwives for each other as we shed old skins, rebirthing ourselves over and over, always keeping our focus on going higher and becoming better human beings. We worked on that, always together. We splashed our feet in Oak Creek Canyon and lay on the red earth of Sedona, feeling our own heartbeats reverberate back through the warm rocks. We frolicked in Hart Prairie on the San Francisco peaks and spent whole days in the sacred land of Wapatki with our journals, our snacks, and our prayers for the healing powers of nature to fill our souls. We were mystified by life, sister seekers, asking the goddess for guidance, always. Under the bright blue Arizona sun, in the middle of the monsoon rains, with our close-knit community of women warriors, we feasted at full moon potluck gatherings, sang and chanted in sweat lodges at the goat ranch, and rolled ourselves out into the winter snow of the high Colorado Plateau. So many years, so much adventure, so much love shared. We shared houses in Flagstaff. We lived in a yurt out at the goat ranch. We shared more houses in Flagstaff. For me, it became wherever Desdra is, that's my home. When I traveled Southeast Asia in 1986, I came home to Flagstaff, to Desdra's house. When I worked in the Grand Canyon running rivers, I'd return to town in between trips to wherever Desdra lived. She was my home, and I was her returning sister. She was my rock and my refuge. Her unwavering, unconditional love helped me learn to trust for the first time in my life. Desdra was steadfast in her life journey to live life in higher consciousness. We worked together to catch each other's slips and slides into thoughts that are fearful or fretting. We inspired and challenged each other. We saw each other through relationships that began and ended, and we outlasted them all. She was my one true soulmate in this life. In 1991, I packed up my Subaru wagon and I moved to Olympia, Washington to finish my undergrad that I started at NAU, and then I went on to get my master's degree. Desdra stayed in Flagstaff, and so we went apart for the first time for a good many years, but we always continued our relationship over the phone. No cell phones, no smartphones, no easy way to send photos back and forth. We just talked on the phone. I would walk around Capitol Lake in downtown Olympia telling Desdra about my town. She told me about life in Flag, and then she moved to Phoenix, and she told me about life in Phoenix. She did not like living in Phoenix. Yeah, right. She had lived most of her life in both the low and high deserts. She began lamenting about needing to be by water. She felt dried and parched and had a thirst for it, like the waters of western Washington state, Puget Sound, where I live, the Pacific Ocean, so close. We traveled to Orcas Island for a week in 1988, and she fell in love with western Washington. She had previously lived in eastern Washington. For years, I regaled her with stories about my town, Olympia, about the waterfront, about the mountains, the year-round greenery, the cool air, the rain, the progressive ideas, the high consciousness about so many of Desdra's concerns. She began to say, "Oh, Sarah, I want to leave the desert. I want to live in a community like Olympia." And I would say, "Well, come on, jump in. The water's perfect. You'd love it here." Well, finally, after 20 years, well into her 60s, she came to visit me for 3 weeks. It was a magical time together. I showed her my town and some of my favorite places, Mount Rainier and the wild Washington Pacific coast. When she discovered that we had a 30-year-old food co-op with storefronts on both sides of town, that was it. She made up her mind. Desdra always wanted to live where there was a food co-op. So it was time to go for it. 3 months later, she called me on the phone and said, "I want to move to Olympia." And I said, "Well, you know, you're welcome." And she spent her first 6 months with me and my partner at the time, Anna. And she immediately began volunteering at the co-ops, of course. Her first thing to do was to write a newsletter article about herself, introducing herself to the Olympia community. Who does that? I mean, it was amazing. And she drew in one of her best friends in Olympia, Julia, by writing that letter. And Julia remained her friend for the 12 years she lived in Olympia. So she made friends very quickly, of course, as Desdra did. She was so good at that. And she spent these past 12 years living out her bliss. I want you to know, Desdra was blissed out these last 12 years. She was fulfilling her heart's desires to be a progressive activist. She became a board member of the Olympia Food Co-op. She became a regular writer for the co-op newsletter. She went out into the field interviewing organic farmers. We have 36 organic farms in my county up in Olympia. And she'd come up with ideas for doing articles about organic food and organic living, beekeepers, and any other ideas she came up with that were local food-related interest pieces. She became the right-hand woman for the volunteer coordinator at the co-op. She wrote articles for a community newspaper called Works in Progress, a progressive newspaper in Olympia and Thurston County, with working on global and local environmental, political, and social issues. That newspaper's been around for over 30 years. She was on the board for a group called the Community Sustaining Fund that raises money to provide scholarships to students and organizations who are working to strengthen the fabric of people, community, and the environment in Olympia and Thurston County. She cooked for and fed the homeless. And let me tell you something, we are surrounded in Olympia with the homeless. It is in our faces every day. It's quite a problem. A lot of places don't realize what a problem the homeless, well, not what a problem, but what problems we are facing. And it's so hard coming up with answers. But Desdra got in there. And she made big batches of soup and took them down to soup kitchens to feed the homeless. She attended marches for peace and justice. She steeped herself in our community of activism for local issues and of national importance too. She got to fulfill her desire to live in a place that reflected her deep, long embedded values. I loved watching her thrive. I loved it. She continued her personal growth, always, consistently, through taking online workshops and classes and attended various spiritual retreats. She continued her lifelong passion for creative writing and journaling. She wrote haikus and prayers daily, and she was part of a weekly women's spirituality group called Bridget's Well. She meditated every morning after waking up for the entire 45 years I knew her. She was a committed woman. I know that those of you who spent time with Desdra, either by phone, text, emails, or her yearly visits to Arizona, or her yearly birthday cards, know how happy and fulfilled she was her last decade in Olympia. She told people. Anyone she could talk to, she told. I love it. Every time we took a walk, up until our last walk, a few days before she left for Arizona, her last trip. The last time I was with her, she would thank me every time we took a walk for supporting and encouraging her to fulfill her passions by coming to Olympia. And my heart is filled with joy that that is the gift I was able to give her, my dearest sister. What I loved most, every year on my birthday, all of you who get Desdra's birthday cards know what I'm talking about, she would write a beautiful card. Sometimes the cards were her own photos. As many of you know, she was a great photographer. And I know that many of you also regularly received her beautifully written cards. She always made every single one of us feel like we were the most special person in the world. I know she did the same with many of you. If she did the same with many of you, please raise your hands. Yep, she just had the gift of making every single person she came in contact with. She listened so well. She was such a good listener. So I'm going to say to you that the women of Olympia want to share with you, to end my talk here, they want to commission all of you to continue Desdra's work that she was working on right up until she died, right up until the end. She was looking forward to coming back home to Olympia because she considered it home, to continue her work. So here's what the women of Olympia want to share with you, the people of Arizona. Desdra was a woman committed to maintaining a deep relationship with the divine through her love of people and of the earth. She lived this relationship out through her work for justice, showing compassion for all. Her memory and her spirit now live within each of us, and her spirit is all around us. The mantle of Desdra's work has been passed down and now rests upon all of us. It's our work now. This blessing can be looked upon as a commissioning, a sending forth to do the work of bringing justice to our world that is in need of many blessings. Thank you. Malachi and Nathan. Malachi and Mason are going to read what Mark and Chris, who Desdra lived with the last 12 years in Olivia. They couldn't be here today, but they sent their thoughts to share with all of you.
For those who don't know me, my name is Chris. My life partner Mark and I, we're Desdra's housemates for the last 11 years. We became so much more. We became family. I knew it was meant to be for the very start as we had moved here from Flag as well. Through the years, we had our daily routines and chats and danced around each other in perfect harmony. You all may not know me, but I kept up on your lives through Desdra's tales of her beloved family and friends, near and far. I still feel her warm hugs in the morning as I make coffee. I still hear her footsteps from her room. I still hear her laugh as she chats with loved ones on the phone. Desdra enriched my life beyond measures, and the void is unbearable because her spirit remains and the memories are strong. I hope that Desdra's loving spirit is in the heart of each and every one of you. My blessings.
It's wonderful to see everybody out here today. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of all of our hearts. At this time right now, I'd like for my sisters, Debbie and Jill, Autumn, please come on up. Well, we'll wait. We're going to wait. In the meantime, as a school teacher, this is what we call modify and adjust. Desdra, being a teacher herself, understood modify and adjust really well. Adjust. I want to say, in growing up, Aunt Des I was pretty much a son to her. Right? She didn't have a son, and I became her son. She was always my Auntie Des, but along with my Earth Mother, Des, I had wonderful sisters come in as well. When we grew up, being out here, my mom's side of the family is from Nebraska, Kansas City. I didn't have an opportunity to really grow up with them. I grew up with them. And a little story, my mom, Margaret, those of you who may have known her, she bequeathed to me all of her slides. And for those of you who remember back in the 70s, one of the big things back then was to sit around a slide projector, listen to Joni Mitchell, and listen to Jim Croce and Neil Diamond and all that wonderful music from that period. And my mom and dad and Aunt Des, Uncle Jim, they were really into photography at that time, and they developed their own film. And it was amazing. They were talking about nakedness before. My mom went through all her slides, and she handed me like 3 reels out of about 7. I said, "Mom, where are the rest of them?" She goes, "Oh no, 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 no." I go, "What'd you do with them?" She goes, "They're gone." I go, Mom? She goes, no. And I said, oh, well, okay. But wonderful times, wonderful memories of sitting in married house at Campus Heights. Anybody remember Campus Heights? Good old Campus Heights. That's where we grew up a lot, and you came shortly thereafter on Aspen. So, what I would like to do is we are going to bless her ashes. And if you wouldn't mind, please standing one more time if you're able. This was written by Desdra's Olympia sisters and brothers there. And so this is dedicated to Auntie Des. May the divine bless you with discomfort and many answers, and easy answers, half-truths and superficial relationships, so that you may live deep within your heart as Desdra lived deep from within her heart. May the divine bless you with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people, so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace, as Desdra worked for it. May the divine bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and war, so that you may reach out your hand to comfort them and to turn their pain into joy, as Desdra did. And may the divine bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world, as Desdra did, so that you can do what others claim that cannot be done. May it be so. Amen. We would like to thank you guys for being here today. Please, or Sarah, is there anything else that
No,
you need to do? Okay, I'm going to hand this back over to Sarah.
Thanks for coming to Flagstaff for us.
We're not done though. This is sharing time now, everybody. Grab another drink and let's tell some stories and let's talk about your Desdra, your memories, your love, your relationship. This is your chance. You've been waiting since February 27th. So please, come up to the mic, hold it right up to your mouth, otherwise you can't be heard. Please share. And when the sharing is done, there will be one more blessing and one more bagpipe song, and then we'll be done. So here we go. Step right up, folks. Linda.
Hi, everyone. Hello? Okay. I just learned what I wrote. Desdra, soul sister, sister of my heart. She was impressive, living in spirit in this physical dimension. When her ego would squawk or roar, she always sought higher grounds. She held everyone, befriended all as the spirit we are. Loved how all of her emails ended with, we are all just walking each other home. On a personal note, the sweet blessing of sharing life with Desdra, full moon circles, writing circles. When she moved to Olympia, we were on the phone a lot. Desdra would call me. I found this poem, or I wrote this poem. I want to share with you. I am at this beautiful space in nature, and I want to talk to you. Growing food and cooking food and all her creative talents with a camera, a pen, dancing, playing. This loss feels monumental to me. Sharing this, people that know me know to ignore me when I first wake up in the morning. I get back in bed with a cup of coffee and I become human. Desdra wouldn't hesitate at my house. She'd grab a cup of coffee, get in bed with me, cuddle, share a journal entry, just share life. Once I get over this snit fit I'm having of losing her down here, I will connect with her spiritually again. and maybe she's a little busy with her transition right now.
My name is David Morton. I lived in Flagstaff from 72 to 76. I worked at Homeward Bound restaurant and met Desdra during that time. Desdra Dawning, woman, sweet sister friend, wife, mother, gentle soul, lover of nature, photographer, lover of patchouli, lover of laughter, hiker, lover, nomad traveler of sorts. Upon reviewing my address book, the following locations were associated with Desdra: Flagstaff, Chandler, Farmington, Aztec, Ridgecrest, Queens Creek, and Olympia. Enjoy all the other angels, sweet sister, friend.
My name's Deborah Swafford. I met Desdra at Homeward Bound in 1975, and within a few months, she invited me to move the herb store from the north wall of the restaurant to 19 North San Francisco Street, where she had her business, The Enchanted Owl. I don't remember how long we worked there together, but her reasoning was right on. We were both young mothers, single, and had other things to do besides earn a living. So we shared our time in the store and helped each other. She was a gift to me. She was a magnet. She brought so many new experiences to my life. Autumn, I was there at your birth. I was the breathing coach. Aaron was there. He was a young kid wandering around. And Timothy O'Brien was the midwife. And I remember that vision of the moon coming up, that crescent moon, was so fabulous. I'll never forget that experience. I don't know what else to say. I'm just going to keep it brief. She'll always be in my heart. All of you feel like you were closest to her. I feel like that too. That's just the kind of woman that she was. Thank you.
Hey, some of you know me, Aaron de Baron von Pookie-Doo. Aaron Kemi Atwaswafer. That's my mom, and I thought I would follow her. So I'm pretty young to be such a close person with Desdra. Somebody said it earlier, you know, she treated me like I was extremely important. I was the hippie kids, that ran around. That was me at the goat farm. And I struggled. I struggled with alcohol, and I struggled with a lot of things. Finding myself and finding purpose in life. And we did rebirthing, you know, and we concentrated on spirit. And at one point she had a very special cactus. She passed it on to me. I ate it. Anyways, I wouldn't have missed this for the world, because that bond never went, and it's still here. And healing is what it's all about, right? I love y'all, and I'm so happy to see all you guys here.
My name is Pip, and first of all I want to say it's so great to see so many of you here that hearken from a very different era of Flagstaff life, and a time of Birkenstocks and bandanas and half the traffic and half the population. But anyway, I want to say that I don't remember the exact time and place that I met Desdra the first time, but I will always remember the time and place of the last meeting with Desdra. And it was so special not only because it almost didn't happen. Obstacles would come up and then they'd clear, come up and clear. Not the least of which was weather. It snowed when we were supposed to meet in Prescott, and we waited a few days for the roads to clear, and it was supposed to snow on Sunday. But Saturday, February 18th, was a window of opportunity, and we took it. And blessed be that we did. Because it was one of those perfect days you get sometimes with your friends and your sisters. And that just didn't happen in retrospect, like after what happened, it's like, oh, it was a perfect day. We knew at that moment when we were all meeting that it was a shining jewel of a day. There was so much love and so much joy, so much friendship, so much sisterhood. And when we all sat down to eat lunch at the table, I even said out loud, the energy in here is so high, I think we might just all levitate up from the ground. It was amazing. And the whole day was like that, and Desdra had just learned how to set her phone to take pictures. So we were able to set the phone and all gather together and have our picture taken together. And we did that every year. And little did we know that this year would be the last time. And I am so grateful for that time.
Step right up.
Hello. Some of you still know me, and I'm meeting new friends too. My name's Susan Heindel, and I've known Desdra for a long, long time, and know what a special person she was. And everything that everyone is saying emphasizes that beautiful love she carried and shared with everyone, and made you all feel so special. I'm wearing a necklace she made for me for my birthday with an amethyst and matching earrings. And I just wanted to say that Desdra was so free and creative, and my house was one of those houses on Aspen Street she lived at too for a while. And I enjoyed having her there. And remember the beautiful salads she made. She was really into salads at that time. But you know, she just had such grace and love that she could carry off the most unorthodox, and with a sweetness that just made everything copacetic. So we all know that, Desdra. We love you and appreciate you, Desdra. We know you're continuing the great work you're capable of. Love you all.
Oh, come on.
Greetings. Folks here knew me as Mark back in those Homeward Bound days, and I have a very strong hermetic streak. I've never connected with community as well as the folks I call the social butterflies who are always out there. I want to give you a little piece of Homeward Bound Flagstaff history. In December of 1978, Flagstaff had the 3 record-breaking coldest nights ever. I don't think they've been matched. 25 and 26 degrees below zero. I got to know about the circles of the midwife community the following August and September, when everybody had babies. And that's how I got to know Desdra, because that midwifery circle was so strong and wonderful.
Wow, it's interesting to talk in front of people. But I have a story that I have told. It's probably a story I've told more times than any story in my life to new moms. And Desdra had shared it with me when I was a new mom, and she said, you know, someday you'll be in the grocery store and your child will decide they're going to have a tantrum. And she said, it's going to happen, so just prepare for it. And she said, when it happens, just let it happen. And just make sure they don't hurt themselves or anyone else. And just be there for it. And sure enough, that did happen. And I was prepared because of Desdra. And I've told that story to more people because it says so much more than just that one incident. And she even said, she goes, you know, people will look at you and they'll be like judging you, and she'll be like, but you know better. You know what you're doing. And it's true, my kids never did manipulate me with tantrums in the grocery store, because it didn't work. So anyway, thank you, Desdra. And I also did get to see Desdra, like, was it the day before? I thought it was Sunday. And it was very magical how that came together. And just that, you know, she wasn't going to come up to Flagstaff because of the weather, and I had a workshop in Sedona, and I called Connie and Gail and said, hey, can I stay at your house on Saturday night or Sunday night? It must have been Saturday. So, you know, we can get together and have lunch, and it was just, we did, and it was just so special. And I texted Desdra and asked her, I said, hey, Desdra, did you get home? And she said, I can hardly text this, but, you know, I'm really hurting, and I think I have a gallbladder thing, and, but I'll get back to you when I can. And so I'm just glad that she had a beautiful exit. Good for her. Dang it, good for her. I'm really proud of her. She knew how to let go, and yay. And I just thank her for how she mothered me and mothered my children, and showed me how to be a friend. Thank you.
One of the things that, just based on what Terry just said, Desdra came to Arizona every year for 3 weeks after she moved to Olympia to visit her family and her friends in Flagstaff and the area, her Flagstaff people. Every year for the last 12 years, except for the first year of COVID, she didn't. She came here in January for her 3 weeks of this year. She got to see everyone that she wanted to see. She saw her family, she saw her women friends here. She fulfilled her time here. And she was back at Autumn's, ready to come back to Olympia the next day. And she went home. And that's beautiful. I just think that's the most beautiful way that Desdra could have left after completing the circle of her life back here in Arizona. And I've been really grateful for her and in my own heart that is how she got to see you all. Yay! Okay, who else?
Well, my connection with Desdra, as well as with most of the people here that I know, was through a radio bookstore, which Sarah talked about earlier. And I at one time realized that most of the neatest people in Flagstaff, the most important people in Flagstaff, all came through a radio at one time or another. And I remember one incident that, see, we started, Sarah mentioned, we started as a feminist bookstore. We got some anger about that and some feedback. And I remember I was on the phone one day. Some woman called and said, why don't you just go out and have children? You hate children. Right at that moment, Sarah's delightful, exuberant daughter, Laura, was running up and down the hall like mad, which she frequently did, with a couple of other kids. And I said, you've got to be kidding. Anyway, I was in a spiritual group with Desdra. And when the group ended, or maybe it was when she moved away, she sent me this very beautiful letter saying, and really appreciating the bagpipes. And that's the last time I saw or heard from her. And that's what I always think of her as. So even though the pipes aren't quite behaving today, I think they are appropriate as this farewell to Desdra.
I'm going to give you all a minute, those of you. Oh, yeah.
So I got a special piece of Desdra. Most people knew her as a peer. I'm Autumn's stepsister, and so I got a little bit different side of her. I knew her at a time when being a teenager was just weird, and to be around Desdra meant, like everybody has said, you felt accepted, you felt loved for who you were. I know she has a very special place in my husband and his brother's hearts, who came from families that didn't really care, and she was always open with them and gave them an open place to be who they were and figure it all out for themselves. As a stepsister, my mom and Desdra had a really unique relationship that taught me a lot about acceptance, that endings are what you make them, and beginnings can start at any time, and they had a great relationship, and I always thought that was really cool. And Another memory I have about Desdra is, I can't remember if it was your bachelorette party or if you just had a girls' party at your house, and just how open she was to everything. You know, at our age, we were like, you know, everybody's a little hesitant to be open and free with their sexuality, and Desdra was just like, let's get in there, let's, you know? And she just, it's really good for people to see and to open up to that, and I hope that, you know, we carry those things forward. Memorials like this, you look back on moments in people's lives and how they've touched you and what you want to take from them and carry on. And a lot of what Desdra was to us at that time felt a little weird, a little different. And now coming into adulthood, you're like, it's not as weird as it might be for some people that have never experienced that. And I'm like, this is like the Desdra side of life, and it's all okay. Everything, you know, it's great. She was a beautiful part of our lives. And there was one picture in the slideshow where you can almost see into Desdra's soul through her eyes. And I want to remember that about her. I want to keep that picture in my mind and know that she's always looking and watching over us.
I'm just going to say this is hard for me to do. When I was driving up here today, I wanted to say something about Desdra. I didn't know what it would be, and she started talking to me. So I wrote it down. It's called On My Way. Just let me go to a love fest. All I ever wanted was a love nest. Hold me in the middle. I'll do my best to find my way to the love fest. Just move through all the rest and meet me at the love nest. So I feel like I've done that today. So I just appreciate you all. I knew Desdra kind of in a solitary way. I didn't know her friends. I heard about her friends, and I just wanted to hear who she was to you folks. So anyway, that's it. I'm Ellen. Desdra was a big sister to me. Her daughters are my nieces, sort of. I'm Auntie Ellen to their kids. I came here in December of '80. Some of you look familiar, some of you don't, I'm sorry. I left in '86. And those were some of the best years of my life. And we stayed in touch by phone, by video after that came into being. And we've always been soul sisters, Pip and Kathy and Sarah and Linda. Where'd he go? And she changed my life with the Mother Piece Tarot before Vicki had her book published. She and I sat and looked at the cards, and she knew it inside out without the book. She and I were involved with the co-op and getting it together, which never fully happened.
So when she heard about 2 co-ops in Olympia, her heart soared. She was in heaven up there, the earth heaven. I don't know where she is now, but she's happy, I guess. But anyway, she also intensely helped me and my daughter, who's over there, when she was having a hard time. And Desdra was just always there with the right words at the right time. And when we were doing the co-op, we had a fundraiser over at Thorpe Park. Well, more of a fundraiser, because we didn't really raise a lot of money that day. But it got exposure for the co-op, Common Ground. And we were planning it at a meeting on Aspen, I believe, I'm not sure, in a big house. And there were a bunch of us planning it, and someone said, we need a clown. We need clowns, more than one. And Desdra looked at me, and she knew I was learning how to juggle. And she says, I'll do it if you do it. And I looked back and said, I'll do it if you do it. So we did. And I left the picture at the B&B. Totally forgot the pictures. But anyway, we did, and that was our debut. And we started face painting at the Mill Avenue Fair, the Tucson 4th Street Fair, whatever. And the fair here, Festival in the Pines. And Sally Sarah came and joined us. And that's where I met my ex-husband and my love, my daughter. And took me away from Flag. But she and I still painted together, we'd get together and we'd juggle together and have fun. So, in honor of Desdra, I need you all to say up. Oh, louder! Up! Louder!
One more time, Ellen, one more time. Up. Ready? Up. 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 Over. Up. Over. Up. Over. Up. Over. Up. Over. Up. Over. Other way. Yeah. What, are you going to do it again? Oh. Do it again? Okay, one more time. One more time. All right. Ready? Up. 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 Over. Over. Oh, Ellen, you still got it. You still got it. Oh boy. Ellen taught me to juggle, and I love it. Anyway, I don't juggle anymore, but I do. Thank you. Okay. Who wants to talk about something? Come on, we need a story. Gail, yes. Thank you, Gail. I'm so glad.
Okay, this is just really short, but I wanted to share the very first time I met Desdra. And it was at that little preschool up on Turquoise. And I think Autumn was going to the preschool at the time, and I was a brand new teacher. I had just moved to Flagstaff. I was about 20 years old. And I was singing songs with the kids, and I'm just singing, uh-oh, oh no, don't let the rains come down, my roof's got a hole in it, I might drown. How many know that song? Okay, well, I learned it in elementary school, and I was singing it to the kids, and Desdra, in her most loving way, comes in, lets me know that those are thoughts, and those thoughts can manifest, and we need rain. And so We changed the words right there. We changed the words to, oh, yes, please let the rains come down. You know, we know more than ever we need the rains. And then she gave me, which she has forever, the most Mother Earth hug, which I just love about Desdra. She has the best hugs on the planet. So I just want to say thank you, Desdra. I miss you. I'm so happy that I got to see you, and have fun.
Okay, last call. This is it. Jill, are you here? We want to end this beautiful gathering, and I know that Matt read it once, but I think we need to read it at the end again. Which is the commission for all of you, the blessing for all of you, if I can find it here. To go out back into your lives, wherever you are, wherever you live, wherever you're traveling to be safe. Know that you are so loved by Desdra. Carry that always in your hearts. I just feel her love all the time. I'm just so blessed. We're all blessed to have had her in our lives. Now here's your blessing.
I know Mom would have been, or is, just tickled pink that so many friends and family have come together today. This is just fantastic, and we really truly couldn't have asked for better weather. I mean, we got a little breeze. Desdra came by as a hummingbird earlier, so she was attracted by all those flowers dangling there. So the blessing. May the divine bless you with discomfort and easy answers, half-truths and superficial relationships, so that you may live within your heart as Desdra lived from her heart. May the divine bless you with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of people, so that you may work for justice, freedom, and peace, as Desdra worked for it. May the divine bless you with tears to shed for those who suffer from pain, rejection, starvation, and war, so that you may reach out your hand and comfort them, and to turn their pain into joy, as Desdra did. And may the divine bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you can make a difference in this world, as Desdra did, so that you can do what others claim cannot be done. May it be so. Bless you all.
Now it's time for mingling and eating what food is left and having some beverages and hugging each other and talking to each other and meandering as you like.
There is a bowl over here on the altar. It's on the right-hand side. It's a ceramic bowl. Inside the bowl are Reiki stones. And we'd like you to come and choose a stone that speaks to you. And it's your gift from Desdra.
Marty, would you play your last song, please? And we'll end with that beautiful song. the boat to sky,